Welcome back to the channel, folks. I'm your host, Fog. Thank you for joining another episode here on Fat Old Gamers. And today, we're going to take a look at something different. It's not going to be an arcade cabinet or a pinball machine. No, not everybody has room for those. What we're going to take a look at is something that can fit into any house or any budget. And that is the Legends Gamer Pro. Right there. These two items come packed together. They're roughly $250. You can actually find them less on the internet. I've seen them as low as $99 from Walmart. And normally you can run across these at any time on eBay for $125, roughly thereabouts. So sit back, let me know in the comments what you think about this after we're done. Does it make sense for your layout, or is it just something that you don't see value in? Love to hear the feedback. So let's get into it right now. And this is essentially a two-player control deck. Has an 8-button layout on each player. It has an 8-way joystick. It has a nice trackball. Then you have your rewind button, player 1, player 2, and your menu button. You also have a power button up here. Essentially, that's for turning the unit on and off. It does run on a battery, so you can have it completely wireless. You also have, with the kit that I bought, I believe most of them have this, if not all of them, on the Legends Gamer Pro, the pinball controls on the right and the left. So this gives you 2 additional buttons for flippers and for nudge if you want to use that. And you also have 3 connectors on the back, a USB that just allows it to plug into anything, which also will charge the unit as far as I can see, or give it power. You have a proprietary connector which is for the Legends Ultimate Arcade. You can swap this control deck out. If you've watched one of my previous videos that I have linked below, you can see that I had this unit in the Legends Ultimate Arcade, but I decided to move it out because I'm doing something different, and I put the original control deck back in the Legends Ultimate Arcade. And it also has a power input for 12-volt power block that can also run the unit. So that is the unit that you need to control the whole arcade experience with. So the next thing we're going to take a look at is one more item that I've purchased separately that makes life easier. So we'll have a quick chat about that and then jump into the actual gameplay. Okay, the final 2 items that I bought separately for this. Number 1, a USB. Now this is a 3.0 USB 4-port extender. So this allows me to plug a little bit more into that Legends core. And I'll tell you the reason why I do it in a minute once we get to it. But then I also bought a 128 gigabyte Samsung thumb drive. This essentially ran about $20. This ran about $15. You can get them from the Amazon warehouse, maybe save a few bucks here and there on each item. But I spent roughly, another $35 essentially for the setup here, and we'll talk about what they're both for here in a second. So let's take a look at the AtGames Legends core. This is the brains of the unit here that comes packed in with the Gamer Pro. It actually is the same menu system, same structure as what you would get with the Ultimate Arcade from AtGames. It has a couple various ports on the back. You have Ethernet, so you can plug directly into your network. You have an HDMI out. You have what looks to be a USB 3.0 connection. You also have a micro USB for power, and then you've got a little button that allows you to pair the unit if you want to use it completely wireless. Again, the controller itself has a battery built into it, so you can sit further back on a couch and have it wirelessly connected. That's it. That's all the unit has. It's pretty basic. But let's take a look at the actual menu system and talk about some of the games that come with it and some of the capabilities that you can have this unit do for you, like you can have with the Ultimate Arcade. So one of the great advantages of this unit is you can use it with any TV in the house. This being our main living room TV, it's roughly a 75-inch, I believe it's a Vizio, nice big screen, actually way bigger than you'd probably need. But the advantage is you can hook it to this. The Legend core is connected to it. You can see the AtGames menu system here. And then you can just jump right in and start playing right off of your TV. If I wanted to, I do have this connected via a male-to-male USB, dual-end male USB cable. that's going straight into that little USB extender that I bought, the 4-port extender. So that's one of the items plugged into there. So this actually allows the unit to charge or be powered directly. We'll go ahead and turn it on. You can actually get an indicator here when things are being charged or when they're not. You also have 2 other indicators for Bluetooth. We're going to shut Bluetooth off by pressing and holding the player 2 button, because we're not going to use it right now. And you could hook it up to the Legends core and sit back on your couch or wherever you want to, but I've got it sitting on a exercise bike, which is actually my bike desk, and you could use anything. You know, if you've got a small table, if you've got, you know, another stand or something like that, maybe you've got 2 twins at the same height and they have flat heads, you could stick it on there, right? You know, however you're going to play, you can do that. It's stand up or sit down, it doesn't really matter. So looking at the games here, these are the 100 that are included with the unit. So you also have your ArcadeNet titles. You can subscribe to ArcadeNet. We've talked about that before. But you also get some games to play for free if you just sign up for a free account. And it also includes pinball, both the Cloud Pinball, which are some random pinball games that are out there that would use these pinball controls, as well as the Farsight ArcadeNet Pinball, and then some Zaccaria, I'm getting there, pinball tables that you can also use. Then you also have the online lobby. You have BYOG, so this is bringing your own games. This is how you're able to play off of a USB drive, which you can probably put 2 and 2 together, that I've got a USB drive loaded with games. It's actually for CoinOPsX, which is another App Store component on here that you can download onto the unit and then be able to play thousands of arcade games. And you can find those pretty much on the internetarchive.org. Search them out. You'll be able to put them together at your own pace. Then we can also connect even to a Steam machine if we want in the house. Now I'm going to show that at the end, and I'm going to do it differently than we have in the past. We're not going to use the Legends Link app, which is what this connects to. You could do that, but because I have this sitting here right in front of the PC that's connected to the TV, we're going to take a look at how to configure just the control deck by itself without the Legends core and make it work for Steam, which is super easy. And it gives you, again, opens up that whole catalog of Steam games that you may have or may be interested in that you could play on a 2-player control deck. You also have the App Store X. Now this is where you can buy additional pinball tables, which is probably the most prominent product in here, is the different pinball tables that you can buy for this. There's also some screensavers that you can download in here, and if you scroll to the right, you can find CoinOPsX and you can find Pixelcade X, which Pixelcade works with the Pixelcade BitPixel, or I guess it's the Legends BitPixel, and CoinOPsX is to play the games on that USB drive. So the only thing we're going to focus on here is CoinOPsX, which I've already downloaded onto the USB and we're ready to go. This really isn't a tutorial. It's just talking about it. If we want to do a tutorial, leave a comment below and I will go through and do that as well. And then finally you have your settings. And here's where you can tinker around with things. You can control your wireless control deck settings. You can go in and do wireless pairing to pair this to the Legends core, or any other Xbox controller could pair to the Legends core as well. It works very similar to just like the Legends Ultimate Arcade. Then you can also scroll through and find some other different settings. Nothing really major that we have to discuss here, but in general, you could even stream from this. You could set up the pinball controls. You can format and mount your flash drive X, which you need to do for the CoinOPsX games to run or to be able to be read off of the USB thumb drive. Let's jump all the way back though, under games. So under games, this is the 100 that are included with the unit. And there's some great games on here. Now, is there Pac-Man? No, there's not Pac-Man. But is there Tetris? Yes, there's Tetris. There's 8-Eyes. There's other games. There's Atari games. There's 100 really solid games here to be able to enjoy off of this unit right out of the box. And you have the option of adding in other games and using it for other things. So keep that in mind. Again, this is something that you could take, put this under your bed, or store this in a closet, pull it out when company comes over, play your games, put it away again. You know, no real fuss, no hassle, no mess. Just something you can put away if you don't have a lot of room. It's very affordable too, like we said before. It's, you know, being under $250, depending upon when you buy it or where you buy it, it's half the price on sale. When the Legends Ultimate Arcade is on sale, it's half the price of that and half the price of most of the arcade one-ups. So it is a viable choice here, and it does give you some nice capabilities. You go through, you also have Bubble Bobble, Burger Time. You're going to find lots of games, Kadash, Crazy Balloon. You're going to also find Dork and Imp, some of these old Super Nintendo games, Draken that have been licensed by other companies, Earth Defense Force, just plenty of games that you can jump in and play. And we'll take a look at one. I'm just going to look at something very simple. We're going to look at Tetris. And there's a couple of different versions of Tetris on here. Tetris Plus. So we're going to take a look at Tetris Plus, which I do believe is a two-player game. So we can go in, hit our menu, we can put in as many coins as we want. We'll hit start here. We can do versus mode, so we could use actually both controls. I will go ahead and do that just to kind of show that. But we should be able to move each of these independently. Oh, I'm not going to do amazing because I'm not ambidextrous. Is that it? I think that's the word. And we're just trying to get these blocks out of the way so we can get our little professor away from the spinning trap of death on top of him. Let's see. Oh boy. Not very good at this. Oh, wrong button. There we go. Oh, can we even get one thing? Jeez. I think player 2 is going to lose here. But you get the idea. You can actually use both. Have a two-player game. Takes up the screen. It puts borders on. Looks nice. So let's jump out of this one. We'll get out. And there are games, you know, like I said, between various genres and many years between each one. You can actually play some of the older games that would have been very rudimentary, like Fist. Not a lot of detail in it, but you could also play something like Aladdin or even Rastan, which has a little bit more to offer. Burger Time, plenty of games here. So that's your 100 games that come on the machine. Let's jump out of here. The next thing we want to take a look at, and like I said, you could still play the arcade net if we wanted to go through there. I don't have great internet here, so I'm not going to try to show this. It's never really worked for me, but that's where I live and the problems that we have with the internet out here. So the next thing we're going to take a look at is CoinOPsX. Now this adds on to that 100 pre-installed games. This allows you to load on a USB drive with thousands of arcade games on. And essentially what I've already loaded up is the 5 is Alive Saucy Edition from Fans of Sauce, or the archive, the Internet Archive has it. There's all tons of places you can come across it. You'll be able to find it. In here we have the USB drive loaded into that extender as well. We click on CoinOPsX, we launch it. It's already been mounted as well. And now it'll start up and we'll have access to plenty of arcade games. And majority of these are the actual arcade games that you would expect to be on here. And you can hear it starting up. So we'll just kind of speed through that. And then we get access to a plethora of content. So we're going to take a look at 1944. Take a look at that. So we can fire this up. It is like the arcade experience, so you're going to be able to have to load in coins. You're going to have kind of that startup experience that the arcade would have had. It is an emulator, so you're going to see this basically as it should be to the extent of what the machine and the emulator can do. So I'm going to load that in. You can also go into menu and you can add in coins if you want. We've got like 4 credits, so let's go ahead and start. The other great thing about this unit is I've got the core plugged into my capture card in my PC. So you can also get the direct feed. One of the only ways to get direct feed for the AtGames menu system or AtGames devices. So yeah, you can see, I mean, this is the exact arcade. It's essentially got borders like you would have on the actual arcade machine, since it's different resolution or different aspect ratio. And if we want, we can go into the menu. We could add in scan lines. We could go in and change the fit so it actually fits the screen, fills the screen, which would make it wider than it normally is, or pixel perfect. So I like the centered, makes it look nice. All of the ones default to centered, so you have the borders and everything. So it looks pretty good. Let's go ahead and exit out of here. We'll go back and take a look at one more game, and then what we're going to do is take a look at the actual Steam machine itself. So we'll take a look at Dragon's Lair on here. This is essentially what I remember as one of my favorite arcades as a kid. I loved it. I always wanted to play it. There was only one place, it was 60, 70 miles away from where we lived, that had it, so I never made it there, but I really wanted to play it. So now I can play it anytime I want. And essentially it's the same game, you know, obviously emulated, but this is it. And I'm not great at it either. It's been many years since I've played it as I used to. I think I'm jumping too far ahead. I remember there was big TVs above the actual arcade cabinets when they came out because so many people wanted to play it. Oh, I died right there. One more time. Let's see. I don't even know this one. Oh, yes, I do. I know this one. The Rapids. Yield Rapids, I think is what they called it. E-Rapids. Oh, I think you're supposed to push forward. That's it there, though. I mean, you get the idea. Lots of arcades that you can jump in on. I'm just going to go ahead and exit out of this. We'll put Dirk out of his misery. And now let's take a look at hooking this up to the PC so we can use it to run Steam. Okay, for the final part of this video, we're going to take a look at connecting the Legends Gamer Pro control deck to our Steam PC. Now, you only have to do this once. I have mine connected via that same USB, essentially male on both ends cable that can plug into the controller here as well as into the PC. I believe that you could do this with Bluetooth as well. If you turned on the Bluetooth, if your PC had Bluetooth, you could connect it and it would recognize it in a similar way. I don't have Bluetooth on this machine. It's never been used like that. It basically feeds other PCs in the house. So I'm just connecting it directly with the cable. And the one thing you have to do when you first do this, because without the Legends Link app, this controller is not seen as a Xbox type device or X input type device. It's seen as like a 24 button controller, which is perfectly fine. Steam handles this great. Other platforms like Epic and Microsoft Game Store and all of that stuff, Game Pass, may not see this and be able to configure it the right way without a lot of extra work. Steam handles it pretty elegantly. If we go into settings and we go to, now we're in big picture mode. This is free, it's included with Steam. There's just a little thing you tick up in the corner, it takes you in, and it's basically to run it on a big TV. If we go into settings from big picture mode and go to controller settings, down here you will see the 24 button controllers if it's not been, if you haven't defined the layout. So what you would want to do is click on one of those controllers, go down and define layout, and then you just go through and press the buttons to correspond with the controller buttons that you see on the screen. Once you've got that done, you're ready to go. I've already configured mine, and essentially, since that's been done, Steam can recognize this as a two-player controller and run it just as it normally would anything else, whether it's an Xbox controller or Steam controller or whatever. So we'll go into the library. If we go in here, we can also, number one, play some pinball games, which we've talked about plenty of times. This is Pinball FX3. I'm just going to go in, start this up. If the controller doesn't work with it right away, no problem. Steam again handles these things elegantly with this controller as it would with anything else. You go in and you can hit your menu button. Now I've set my menu button up to be the Steam menu. So if I go in here and hit that button, it'll bring up the Steam overlay on top. I just go up to controller configuration, and you can choose, if you hit X, you can choose community layouts. However, here's the AtGames Legends Ultimate 1.1. That's the one I'm using. I would select that and then just apply it here. And at that point, you're ready to go. You can also go in and tailor things in the actual game's settings. So if you want to change like some of the buttons around, you can do that. But with this one, these controllers are now going to work just like it would on the Ultimate Arcade or on the Legends pinball table. So we'll pick one, and let's see, we'll just choose one that we haven't ever shown on the channel, which would be, how about Sorcerer's Lair? Again, right down here, right and left bumper, or flippers. And I've also configured this one so that the plunger is the controller stick, the joystick, so you can just pull down on it. So it gives you that kind of feeling of like you're actually going to start the game up. So here to fire off the button, you just pull back. And now you've got your flippers. And it's a pretty good experience. Again, you're just talking about something that allows you to play a majority of these games with the same controller. You don't have to go out and buy anything beyond this. And as long as you've got a Steam PC or a PC that could run Steam, mostly any recent PCs can probably run Pinball FX. But you get the idea here. We even have the nudge. So we'll back out of this. Let's jump out of here. And then we'll take a look at one more game, and we'll choose a fighting game. So we won't choose Mortal Kombat because I show that all the time. We'll choose something else. Let's see. Let's pick, how about Injustice 2? Let's go with that. Now, you shouldn't have to configure this one. I think it just uses the standard gamepad kind of configuration for this. There's no flippers that you want on the side or anything like that. We're just going to use the 8 face buttons here and the joystick. Now, we could play 2 players, obviously, like second person could come here and be able to play the game. I don't think I hit start. Whoop, it's failing. This is a Steam thing. Let's get out of this. We will show something else. There it went. It always does this. It's a weird game. Injustice is great, but it does some weird stuff. So again, loaded in the controller for both, so we could play 2-player. So I'm just going to hit start, and we'll just choose, maybe we'll choose a 2-player just to kind of show. So we'll do multiplayer, we'll do versus, hit start there. There we go. So now I get to choose mine. I'm going to choose Harley Quinn.
Harley Quinn.
And over here, we'll choose Batman. Look at that.
Fighters approaching Gotham City.
So now we have both controllers here, and playing in front of a 75-inch, you know, that's great. Now, the good thing is you can get a big screen 65-inch TV for $400, right? So $400 plus this, you're at the price of a Legends Ultimate, but you can use it for a TV or whatever you're going to do. Who knows?
Come on, let's go back to hitting each other.
Not sure you're ready, Harley. Begin.
So we've got our back, forward, everything's working. I'm just going to fight myself here. Yeah, so all the buttons work, no problems for both. We'll do Batman for a minute. There's our grab. And that's it. So again, a 2-player controller built for arcade style games, you know, fighters, things like that. You have dual purpose, I guess, would be the way to look at it. So we talked a little bit about all of this. This is, again, a video kind of to load into, or to foreshadow another set of videos that are coming down the road here. And we're going to talk about something and ultimately have like a final build on this, kind of taking this and moving it into something else. So I think it'll be interesting. I hope that everybody checks in on it, wants to come see that video, comes back. Subscribe to the channel right now. That way you know when the video goes up and you get a chance to see what it is. The overall experience with this is the same as with the Ultimate Arcade. There is no difference. Feels the same, plays the same. It's just that's actually more reminiscent of something you would have had in an arcade, so it gives you that feel. But I mean, for what you get here, you can play thousands of games off of this thing. Let alone not with Steam hooked up to it, but if you have a PC that has Steam, you can even play thousands more. It's great. It's a nice device. It kind of fits in that realm of like, even if you have only arcade one-up machines, you can have one of these, right? They make different stands for it, different options of where you can put it. You can have one of these in there and not take up 1.5 spaces, because that's about what an Ultimate Arcade takes up, to, you know, not be able to put two other arcade one-ups in there, right? Like that's a space saver, just having this, a multi-cade kind of component that can play pretty much everything and can be placed anywhere in the house and can be put under a bed when you don't want to play it. It's a great idea, great device. I just wanted to talk about it here to kind of preface those other series of videos that we're going to be talking about. But in general, I am a fan of this. I'm glad I picked it up. I picked mine up again from eBay for 125 bucks. Came with everything. And then, you know, maybe about 2 months later, a month later, the Walmart sale went on and it was $99 for the thing. So, I mean, $99 for this, it's hard to turn down. It's well worth it. It's $1 a game, plus you could use the controller for everything, you know, kind of idea, right? At that level. At $250, it starts to become a little bit more of a considerable purchase. But overall, I think you get a lot of capabilities. And if you want kind of a home arcade experience, this is perfect. You don't need to have a cardboard cabinet or whatever these cabinets are made out of, fiberboard. You could just have a nice big screen TV and be able to plug it into, or other devices, small screen TV. It doesn't really matter. But that's the idea. That's why I wanted to talk about here today, folks. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you got something out of it. I hope that if you have any questions, you'll leave them in the comments. Always happy to talk and try to help configure these things. You also could do us a favor and like the video or dislike it if you really didn't care for it. That lets me know not to make more of this content. And again, subscribe, get to see other things that we do on the channel. So hope you'll come back and join us. We appreciate it, folks. Have a good night. We'll talk soon. Bye-bye.